Hi, I'm Allison the Crocheter.
And I'm Vivian the Knitter, and you're listening to Keep Calm and Carry Yarn.
Hello and welcome to episode 79 of Keep Calm and Carry Yarn. This is a knitting and crochet podcast hosted by me and my mom, Vivian. I'm recording from my home here in Edinburgh.
And I'm recording from my home here in Virginia for the very last time.
Oh gosh. Yeah, newsflash for anybody who wasn't here for the last episode. My mom is moving.
Yeah, the movers come tomorrow.
And it's looking, pretty empty behind you.
Yeah. Still the same empty as it was last time. Because all this, all the stuff is gone. At least packed away. So, sweetie, how have you been?
Yeah, I've been okay. It's snowy outside at the moment, but by the time this goes out, the snow might have melted. But we had like a few days of, there's 1 or 2 days where it was just like, it would just snow a bunch, and then it would get sunny, and then it would snow a bunch, and then it'd be sunny, and the flakes kind of, it drifted between light flurries to like really heavy, and it just made me realize how much I miss being somewhere where that's just like no big deal. Yeah. Like it was such a big deal. Like every time it snowed, we're like, oh my god, snow! Because obviously like living in Boston and in New York, like that was every winter and you go out and there's like 3 foot of snow already on the ground. Whereas like here, it's like, we got maybe 3 inches of snow, which I think 3.5 inches, like, a decent amount for a couple days worth of snow, but like all the sidewalks, like nobody shovels sidewalks, nobody salts the sidewalk. So it's just 2-inch thick of just compacted snow on all the sidewalks.
Well, I suppose not everybody has snow shovels.
Yeah, because it doesn't snow here very often.
Okay. Well, we do have a little bit of snow out there. We had an ice storm, and lots of people have.
Is that unusual for Virginia?
No, it's not unusual. It's usual to have ice storms or it rains and then it ices over the power lines and trees, and the trees come down, and lots of power outages. So, yeah, it was a little bit. I had to pick up your dad from the airport yesterday, so it was a bit scary, but we made it in one piece. And he made me drive home. He's like, "No, you drive home." I'm like, fine. And then in the middle of the drive home, he said, "You're a safer driver."
Well,
yeah. So anyway,
I would believe that. I mean, good on him for recognizing that.
Yes. I don't think I would have ever had heard him say that. So I was just surprised that he admitted it. That he's not a safe driver, basically. Yeah.
Will we do our Buzzfeed quiz?
Yeah. So
this one was suggested to us by a listener, Lisa, who is Lisa Raspberry Crochet. And so I took it immediately when she sent us the message with the link. And I was like, okay, now I want to know what my mom got because I got some. But anyways, the quiz is choose your favorite dress from each Disney princess and we'll guess how old you are. Yeah. So
I'm assuming you got the same as I did, and that's why you were making that face.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what you got. But I got, so the age range I got was 50 to 65. And it says, you're getting older, but that's not a bad thing. You're confident, accomplished, and comfortable with your life. You've also learned how to pick your battles and what's really important in life. So.
Well, we didn't get the same thing.
Okay. What did you get?
I got 66 plus.
just a couple of old ladies doing a podcast.
It says, you're in the golden years. You spend your days doing whatever you want, whether that's adventure or a good book by the fire. You had a life experience to make you wise and kind, or maybe you're just an old soul.
Oh, God.
There are a couple of old ladies just
so the quiz was like, so yeah, it showed you like different outfits that each of like the Disney princesses wear, and I thought it was funny because obviously with some of them they've used images from like sequels that I've never seen.
Oh, that's why I was like,
Yeah, what is that?
Don't
Like the
read that.
Mulan outfit. There's 6 different outfits, and one of them she's wearing like this weird tank top and capri short things, and I think that
Oh
must be
no,
from
that's from the
a
first movie when she wakes
Is
up.
it?
She sleeps in that. Those are for pajamas.
Maybe when
That's,
she's
that's her
calling
underwear,
for the dog.
For the dog, yeah, little brother.
Well, I didn't pick that outfit.
I didn't either.
I picked the outfit from the end when she's fighting the Huns at the palace.
I picked the one above it, the green, where you can't. Her head is chopped off. They chopped off her head, and I don't know what she's doing, but I think that's the cricket.
That's the one where you can see the dog on the side and the bag of corn feed, chicken feed, and the bone and the stick. It's when she ties the chicken feed to the dog with the bone on the stick and the dog.
Oh, okay.
Okay. This. Sorry, what were you saying?
There's only 2 outfits for Moana. Because she only.
I picked the more casual one.
Oh, I picked the fancy one.
The fancy one, yeah.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, it just the outfit for Belle. Okay, this one, I think must be a sequel. The last, you've got her
blue dress,
blue and white apron one, the classic yellow dress, her winter outfit, and then there's a green dress, and I think that has to be from like a sequel. Even her facial expression doesn't look right, like the style.
It's not from when he shows her the library. What's she wearing when she's in the library?
Ugh. Why do you remember so much of these? I swear, I'm just looking at these being like, this doesn't look familiar.
You want to know why? Because I watched them as an adult.
Yeah,
with my little children.
Okay, fine. Well, anyways, I picked the winter outfit with the hood.
The green outfit? No, what did you say?
The winter outfit.
Oh, the winter. I picked the green outfit.
With the hooded cloak.
I picked the green one. I didn't really like the yellow off the shoulder. I don't know, I just never liked it. For Tiana, I never actually watched that movie. But I've
only seen it once, so yeah.
I picked her sparkly dress.
Oh, the big.
With the big ball. Yeah, the ball gown
one.
Or is it a wedding?
I picked her wedding dress one because.
Well, either of them could have been a wedding dress.
Oh, true. But yeah, I actually don't. Yeah, because it's been so long since I've seen it just the one time. It looks. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like something that somebody could wear now for a wedding.
It does. What about? Are we gonna go through all of these?
Nah.
Pick an outfit for Anna.
Anna. Oh, I did finally watch Frozen, so.
Okay.
I did the fancy outfit, like the emerald green with the tiara.
Too. Yep.
Yeah, that's why we're old ladies. Okay, wait. What about Ariel? That's like the last one of the last ones.
Well, I didn't pick her non-outfit, the one with the sails. I picked the blue dress where she, in the boat when she had the big blue boat.
Kiss the girl. I went for this sparkly dress where she's coming out of the water. I feel like I picked all the glittery dresses. I was just like, yeah, glitter.
I did pick a couple of glittery dresses.
Oh, right. Okay, so yeah, that's why I wanted to see what you got, because I got something wildly not my age.
Well, mine's only, a little bit older than me. 15 years older than me.
Still
16, yeah. No, actually, what am I thinking? No, 11 years older. So, thank you, Lisa, for that.
Yeah. That's good.
Okay. Crafty content?
Mm-hmm.
I have the same stuff. Do you have the same stuff?
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
Because we are recording a little early because I'm moving. And do you want to go first?
Sure. I'm working on my project for the Archive KCAL, which is my 373 cardigan.
Very descriptive.
And yeah, it's a boxy cardigan, but I've just got part of the back panel done. It's
So,
pretty boring to look at. It's just a
wait,
rectangle.
at some point, did you say, "Oh, I don't want to do this. I might change my mind"? When was that? Didn't you say that at some point?
I don't know. But I don't think I have enough yarn. So basically, I've got I'm holding the silk mohair yarn together with the Rowan lace weight yarn. So those are being held together. This is my second ball of the Rowan because it's 25 grams, and then the mohair is 25 grams, and the Rowan is 50 grams.
Okay.
So this is my first ball of Rowan and my second ball of mohair. So when I finished the first ball of mohair, I weighed what I had so far plus my swatch, just to like compare how much Rowan to mohair ratio I had, and like how much, like, you know, how big it was and how much I thought I could get away with. But I think with what I have, I can do the front and back panels and have no sleeves. So it's cool. So yeah.
Are you gonna order more yarn?
So yeah, I'll order more yarn, and I think I'll just do it in a way that, because there's the knitted sort of cowl, folded front. What was it? Band? I don't know what to describe it.
The front band.
Yeah, the front band. So that, I figure if I have to order yarn, I could definitely do that in like the new yarn, and then maybe the sleeves, and then that way it kind of, if there's a slight difference, then it'll be differentiated that way.
Yeah, well, it'll be on the sleeves, so yeah, it won't be as bad.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's going okay. I kind of got annoyed at myself because I'd gotten pretty, like, you know, a certain amount done, and then it started to shrink a little bit, and I was like, crap, I put it down and I couldn't tell if I just changed my tension while I was doing it or if I picked up the wrong hook, because at one point I looked at the coffee table where all my stuff was, and there was 2 hooks sitting there, and I was like, where did the second one come from, and which one was I using? And so I went with the one that I thought I was using, which was the smaller one. Is it 2 millimeters or something? Like, it's pretty small.
So you're not writing down like the notes, like which one you're
Well,
using?
I thought I had written it down, and apparently I didn't. I don't know.
Oh no.
So I ripped it out, and then I just did it looser, and then it was too big. So I was like, okay, it definitely must be the right hook, and I've just like gone too tight on my gauge. So I've fixed that, and now I think it's fine. The only thing is, on one side it tends to lean, like, you know, it should just be a rectangle, but on one side it tends to want to lean out. So I've just modified the last few stitches of every other row to I've taken out a couple chains spaces just to shrink it back in, because it's not perfectly, like, it's symmetrical, but because obviously you've got chains instead of actual stitches on the ends, it isn't perfectly symmetrical. So I don't know if that is what's causing it to lean. But yeah, no, I think it's gonna be, I think the size will be okay. Like, it's because it's a little bit oversized. Like, this is the back panel, so it's quite wide. And then the cardigan itself doesn't close. It, you know, kind of hangs open.
So you can,
the only thing
you can always overlap it, like.
Yeah, you could like pull it, overlap it, and pin it or something. What I will say about the pattern is that it's one size. So if you're not a size extra small to like medium, maybe you can't, like, you'd have to figure out how to adapt it to you.
But if it's oversized, it might fit somebody more snugly. Unless you want it oversized.
Yeah, which is why I said medium, because I'm kind of a small, so maybe a small to medium. But yeah, no, I mean, it's going fine, and I just really like the color.
It looks very squishy.
It's very squishy and soft. This sort of
a dirty purple
eggplant.
Color.
Yeah, a dirty eggplant. But yeah, and then, like you said before, you can kind of see that the Rowan yarn looks lighter than the mohair, but then also when it's put together.
Yeah, it's a good combo.
So yeah, So I've been working on that. So I haven't been working as much on the other two garments that I still have sat as whips, which are my blurred line and my strawberry shortcake. What?
The hand gestures. I didn't understand.
It's because they're over there on the floor.
I can't see what's on your floor.
But yeah, so that's my only like whip that I've been working on.
Okay. Well, my Archive Cal knit along project is coming along. I have 2 sleeve bands.
They're like those floaties, arm floaties.
Yeah, right now they are. Yeah, they do look kind of like arm floaties because that's where it's gonna go, right here, right at your bicep.
Arm, yeah.
So this for those who didn't listen or don't remember, this is the it's a bottom up yoked sweater, colorworks yoke sweater, and it has color
called Lovage.
Did I not say that?
I don't think so.
Lovage by Marie Wallen, and I'm using mostly Jameson's Spindrift that I got in Edinburgh. And so instead of starting from the bottom band, I'm actually starting from the color work, which is like just under the boobs, and then it's worked up to the sleeve split, but you're not splitting, you're adding. So these are the sleeves. These are the sleeves that's going to be added to the body. And the gauge and everything looks good. And it gives me, it's probably a little bit bigger than what it calls for, but that's fine because I need a little bit more room around my guns. And, and so I started the body color work. Ooh. And I actually got more than half of the chart done, and I think it's a 26 row chart. Yeah, so I got about more than half, and I was looking at it, and it's like, it looks really big, and but it's crowded on. Well, it's not. I had it on a really big needle, and then I measured it. I thought, oh, shoot, it's supposed to be 30 inches per 4 centimeters, but at that point
30 inches per
30
4
stitches 30 stitches per 4 30 stitches per for 10 centimeters, excuse me, I'm thinking inches. So but I had 13 per 5, so that would have been 26 stitches. So that's way too big. And I sort of pulled it off the needles and I put it around me, and I had like a good 5 or 6 inches, double that of ease. So that was ridiculous. So pulled that out, and I had already gone down in needle size. So I went down another needle size, and I'm knitting the smaller size. So I think I measured the gauge while it's on needle, and it seems it's better. So but yeah, because I had it on a big needle, maybe it was just stretching it or something. It was just right, I don't know, but I can't believe how my gauge it was so different between the sleeve and what I was doing for the body. So I'm like really conscious of not making it too loose, because I am a loose knitter, and a lot of times when people do stranded work, they'll go up a needle size when they do the stranded, and then they go back down the needle size when it's just stocking up. But I've never done that because my stranded is kind of loose. Anyway, so I haven't really gotten that far on the body.
So how far? So you said before you'd gotten about half. So how far would you say you are now?
I'm almost at half, not quite. So I just a few rows, maybe 3 rows before I ripped it out the first time. It kind of looks good with my sweater that I'm wearing.
How does it actually get all connected back together?
I'm doing it in the round.
Yeah, but you've got 3
Oh,
things to connect.
so I'll have the body, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I will the final round before you connect it, you would uh, bind off some stitches at the arm and go around the back and bind off some more stitches at the arm and go around back. And I did the same thing for the sleeve. So the bound off part would be
is like where the underarm.
Yeah, where the underarm is. So the two bound up parts would eventually get sewn together. And so you're and then
you have to go back around
the
so then
outside
on the second
of the
row
sleeve. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you connect it. Oh, we got another cat in here now. So
that sounds like it would be much easier to do in crochet.
Probably.
Because you don't have any live stitches. You just
That's true, but then you have live stitches, so on the outside of the arms and on the front and the back, so you just connect that all together.
Do you have to? Yeah, I mean, I don't understand exactly how, because you have to pick. Yeah, I don't know. Don't explain to me.
Oops. You just fell out of my ears again. No, there's the reason why I have this on needles because the sleeve on needles because these are live stitches.
Okay, so once you get to that part, you'll shove them back onto.
Yeah, I can just stick it back.
The same needles as. Right.
Yeah.
Right. I kind of get it.
I'll have to use. I don't because these are size 1s that I'm using right now, and the pattern calls for size 3s for the color work.
What does that mean? Is there like a millimeter equivalent?
Yeah. I think these are 2.5s.
Okay.
And then size 2s will be 3.0. And then 3s will be 3.5 or 3.25, something like that. It's similar. Because there's like two different, like size 2s can be one of either 2.75 or 3.0.
That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous because I'm having the same, not headache, but for the magazine, for Moorit, like, obviously there's like US hook sizes, which are like letters / numbers. But I mean, I personally just use the millimeter sizes because it just makes sense because a 3mm is a 3mm. Like, there's no like, oh, but this brand, a 3mm is actually a 2.75 because that would be ridiculous because it's a measurement.
I agree with you, but you know, this is just what I'm used to. So, I am using 2.5 millimeters on the body right now. And according to this size chart, that's a 1.5 US 1.5. And the size 2s are 2.75 and 3 millimeters. And a 3.0 millimeter is a 2.5 US size.
You're just saying numbers at this point.
I know. Okay, so I do remember now that I'm thinking about it. I used a 2.75 for the sleeves.
Millimeter.
2.75 millimeter. Now I'm using a 2.5 millimeter for the body. So it's only I mean it's only a quarter to a 0.25 millimeter difference.
Yeah, it's small enough that like your tension.
Well, and also makes a difference because you're going. It's the body. It's going around, and also these needles are a lot shorter than the 2.75s that I had. Yeah. So anyway, yep, that's what's going on, and with this, and I did end up ordering more yarn from the Woolly Thistle, the Jamison and Smiths. So this is the pink that I got. I don't remember what
Nice.
number it is, but it's a light pink. The brighter pink, she ran out of. So these are the colors that I'm working with. There's a blue, a light blue, of course the gray, orange, or rusty something. What else is there? Teal. Where's my teal? Purple. Whoops. Purple. So here's some of the colors. So I think that
I feel like the teal is quite bright compared to some of the other colors.
Yeah, it is. Like
that was the saturation.
It's just you know, those were the choices I had at the.
Yeah.
There's the teal. I mean, it doesn't look bad with what I have. What is it called? That something bee inspired. Bee inspired fibers. Oh, and then I have this. This is the Biche Bou Bush. Biche Bush. Yeah. It's a darker navy. I might throw that in. I don't know.
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah. So yeah, I have plenty of colors to choose from. But I'm really happy with it. I just can't do that while I'm watching TV. It's a little harder because I have to look down a lot to see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
My second whip is the modified Sagitta, and I am on the 7th color.
7th out of 8?
7 out of 8. So I really just started. I'm on the lace pattern. So I'm really liking this. It goes nice. From like a teal to a green to a, what is that, aquamarine or turquoise to a blue to a dark blue to a darkest blue, and then a dark blue or the darkest blue. And then I'm going to do, after that, I'm going to use the purple mini skeins that I bought separately, plus the bright pink that I bought separately. And
it's going to be very nice.
Yeah, I think it'll be nice. I don't remember whether or not I did share, but I know I talked about it. But these are my leftover bits. They're tiny.
Yeah, I think you did show us before. Tiny.
They're tiny. So the math worked out well for me.
Well, if you want to save them for me for my scrappy blanket, I would take them.
Yeah, I was thinking I might start a scrappy blanket. But yeah, I'm gonna put them in. I have a bucket over there, a little piggy bucket. I don't know if
your pig bucket.
With leftover sock yarn bits, and I will put it in there after we move because it's actually going with me. I just like to have it together with me, so I can look at it. So those are my 2 whips. I have no FOs. Nope, no FOs. Do you have any FOs?
I do, but I just wanted to say, since we've just talked about our archive KCAL whips, that the archive KCAL is still going on, and people are posting on Ravelry and on Instagram, and I've been trying to make sure to actually look at the Instagram, tag on the account and liking everyone's posts and commenting. It's really nice to see what everybody's working on. Lots of people pulling
UFOs.
Hibernating whips out, and some of them are quite old as well. So I think that's a good. I think we should sort of next time make sure to add that into the sort of what qualifies for the archive KCAL, because obviously we talk about stuff that's been in your favorites or whatever for a long time, but stuff that's been sitting in bags unfinished for a long time. I think that counts as being from your archive as well, literally from the archive. Yeah. That is very cool to see, and keep sharing. And we will have prizes. I think last time when we talked about it, I said that we'd probably have prizes, but we will definitely have prizes. We've sorted it out.
Yes.
So
it's packed
so just
away,
if you're participating on.
Yep. And
bring them, yeah.
I didn't want to forget it, so I have already packed it away, and maybe I'll share it next time we record, because we won't be in our final destination, but we're in the destination where the prize will be given out.
Because the KCAL will be going on until the end of April.
Yeah.
So if you haven't started anything, you still have plenty of time to join in.
Yeah, I'm not gonna finish
that's
the
that.
sweater by then. It will still be. it might be in next year's archive if we do one next year.
You'll finish it. You always finish your sweaters.
I don't always finish stuff because when I was packing, I found a couple of things that still had needles in them.
Ooh. So I have an FO.
Woohoo! Look at that.
Bernie mittens.
Yeah, Bernie mittens. Are they nice and warm? Have you worn them out? Look at
I haven't worn them out yet. I finished sewing the second one together a couple days ago. So they've got brown cuffs and then color work back of the hand and sort of palm and back of the thumb. So like I said before, I've done it so that it kind of more closely mimics his actual gloves because they're obviously sewn together 3 different recycled sweaters. So I've got the 3 different bets. And I mean, I like it. I like having the sort of like having that different color on the back of your thumb.
Yeah.
To the front of your thumb. Yeah, so I don't think there's that much more to say about it because I've already mentioned it. I might publish the charts that I used. Although if your hands are any bigger than mine, you'll need to extend the repeats or something because these like just fit me.
Well, those repeats are very easy to extend.
And actually, like the thumb, his mittens, you can see more of this pattern because obviously with crochet stitches and this yarn is bigger than the knitted.
So what is the pattern on that part of his thumb?
It's kind of hard to tell. It's just like, I mean, okay, it's really hard to tell with this bottom part, but it's just like offset stitches, like not quite checkerboard.
Okay.
But checkerboard-ish, and then there's these weird like circles, and then another circle, and then it goes back to the checkerboard. And then on the other side of the hand, they're like crosses. But like I said before, with if I'd done split stitches or waistcoat stitch where you insert the hook into the V of the single crochet instead of the top of the stitch, I might have gotten a like more clear picture, like a more clear representation of what the shapes actually are. But because I chose to do it as regular stitches, they're offset in a way. But I forgot to share last time, I did do a practice swatch, because so I worked them flat, and as I mentioned before, I've done single crochet, but instead of doing like normal single crochet, I wanted the single crochet to look the same on the right side for both for all the even and odd rows. So I worked stitches reverse. I don't know if there's a name for that. Like
I don't know. You did. I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, basically as if I did like one side with my right hand and then the other side with my left hand and then right side. But so I did the swatch so you can see what difference it makes.
Oh wow.
So the bottom part of the swatch is what I've done.
Yes.
And the top part of the swatch is just like your standard single crochet where you turn the work.
Definitely tighter.
Each side.
The pattern is not as fuzzy.
Yeah, but there's not as much noise, I guess. Yeah. I don't know.
But it makes a really big difference.
It makes a big difference. So obviously there's certain kind of patterns that don't really work, but with a sort of larger, with this zigzag, it pretty much works. And you can see like places where there's like a stray white bit of yarn from a certain stitch that sticks out, but it's cleaner. It's definitely cleaner. And you can see the way the stitches from the way I've done it, like it leans. Like, the even rows lean one way and the odd rows lean the other way.
That makes a big difference.
But yeah, so I did that swatch before.
So clever.
But as well, like with regular single crochet, you can see like there's almost like a ridge every other row.
I see that.
And that's, caused by turning it. And then obviously with doing it the way I've done it, there's no ridge.
Oh, wow.
So
So how did you
It,
figure that
it
out? Is it something that you have done before, or you just did it on your own?
um no, I looked online. There was somebody who had posted like a video tutorial for doing tapestry color work in this way by working this you know, every other row in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
That's
yeah, I think
very
I watched
clever.
one of the videos where she actually does it with her left hand, and
Mm-hmm.
I tried. I was like, I can't do this. But then I think in a second video, she showed how to do it the way I did it, where you
Oh.
just work it
Well, like even
in
if you're
reverse.
you're ambidextrous, your gauge might change if you're doing it left hand versus your right hand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because
Um,
yeah,
it took me a couple tries to like make sure I wasn't twisting the yarn funny. Like the first few stitches I did, just the way I like, because you're working in towards you, the
mm-hmm.
way I wrapped the yarn around the hook to pull through, it was causing the stitch to be like kind of, instead of
Twisted.
like this, it was like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Uh-huh.
twisted. Um, but yeah, so now I've got my mittens, and they're now my third pair of. I've got two pair of crochet mittens, and my other crochet mittens I wear all the time. Those are the ones with the holes on the thumb
Yeah,
and
the
so,
photographer's mitt. Yeah, I
yeah.
remember.
So those ones I wear all the time, and then I've got my noodle binding
Uh-huh.
mittens I don't wear quite as often. Yes, that's my FO. Do you have an FO?
No, I already said I don't have an FO.
Yeah.
I've been a bit busy getting ready for this move, so not a
Mm-hmm.
whole lot of knitting done. Just I did stay up until like midnight when I was ripping out the body of that, and so I had to rip it out, and I wanted to start it before I went to bed. So I think it was like 12:30.
Do you not find you make more mistakes if you work late at night?
So because I am doing a provisional cast on, so I actually, instead of like a true provisional cast on where you use like a crochet hook and it's just looped around it's basically like a chain stitch, a crochet chain stitch. What I did was I knit a few rows, a few rows of knitting on the waist yarn, and then I use that as my provisional cast on, and I'll just cut that off. So all I did was, you can see it here. I didn't use all the stitch. Here's the rest of I didn't use the rest of the stitches. It's just dangling off of my. So I just had to count that. I didn't have to like start over and count. So that wasn't so hard. And I'm very like neurotic when it comes to when I'm casting on. I'll like cast on 20 stitches, put on a stitch marker, cast on another 20 stitches, put on a stitch marker. So I don't know how people can just like count and count and count. Like I can't do that. I just have to. That's the only way I can do it, and know that, and be precise about it. And even after I'm done, I will count in between each of the stitch markers to make sure I have 20 stitches until whatever, like 14 at the end and stuff like that. So I'm only counting because I can only count up to 20. So
I know what you mean.
Yeah, so that's what I did, and I did that, and then the first row is just one color, so it's just stockinette. There's no colors, there's no color switching. So I did that, and I did the first color, and okay, I'm good. I can go to bed now.
Oh, okay.
So
I see.
yeah, so yeah, but I was noticing how it matches my bag. The bag, that this teal is almost exactly the same as the teal of my bag. So I matched my bag to my project, which I never do.
So I have a DM that I wanted to read from Ravelry from a listener, and it kind of reminded me. Remember that brief moment where we tried to do like a mailbag segment, and Nicola was the only one that responded.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do another half attempt at reviving it. But so I got this message in Ravelry, my Ravelry inbox from Iman, And she said in episode 71, you asked a question as to why people choose the size yarn they prefer to use. Do you remember we talked about like we both tend to use like fingering weight yarn? And she said, like, I can only speak for myself, so I'll tell you why I choose one over the other. Although I learned to knit first, I grew up in a small town and there wasn't much materials to keep my interest, so I stopped knitting after learning the basics. When I decided I wanted to crochet, I lived in a city, there were classes and a wide variety of choices, and I didn't return to knit again until 2 years ago. As my skill increased in crochet, so did my speed, and I wanted to try more challenging things which required a smaller gauge yarn. I will tackle anything when it comes to crocheting, and I prefer fingering weight yarns. Knitting, however, I'm much slower, so I usually use DK and sport weight yarns because I know I will finish the project. Even with crochet, if it's a larger project, at some point I will set the project down for a while, but I know I will return and finish it. I cannot begin to imagine using fingering weight yarn and having all those stitches, tiny stitches for knitting. I feel I would probably knit for hours and end up feeling as if there wasn't any progress in what I was making. Maybe as my knitting speed continues to increase, that might change, but it will be a while. And so I can definitely see like where she's coming from. Like when you're, sort of less experienced, you tend to use chunkier yarns. But I mean, obviously there's some people who are very experienced who still like prefer chunkier yarns. But
yeah,
I wonder if there is a bit of a correlation there.
Well, I'm not as experienced with crochet, and I have a hard time crocheting with fingering weight. So,
I guess there's just more to hold, and yeah.
The holes are smaller, so you have to stick the hook into the holes, and like the only thing that I did that was fingering weight was the cowl, the Tunisian cowl, and that was a challenge for me.
Yeah,
because why the heck did I decide to do a Tunisian? Because you were doing that knit along, the crochet along, and I wanted to participate too. So I can't think of anything else that I've done that's fingering weight in crochet. I suppose I'll have to learn. I mean, you are putting out a crochet magazine, and
I mean, but we are also I'm Vivian the knitter, and I'm Allison the crocheter. So we've got our niche.
You've been knitting. You've knit more things than I've crocheted.
Tiny
during this podcast. Oh, and speaking of which, we just had our podiversary.
Yeah, we've been doing this for
4 years.
4 years.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
we're gonna. No, we won't. We won't reach 100. Oh wait, no, it's only February. Yeah, we're gonna reach. Will we reach 100 episodes?
Possibly. We can't count over 20, so.
Well, if we're on 79 right now, and there's still 10 more months of the year, we might reach 100. We'll have to do something.
Yeah, if maybe we'll either have to hold back or release a couple extra, so that if we can reach 100 episodes as our 5th podiversary episode, that would be good.
Yeah, so we'd have to plan that out. We'd have to look at the calendar and actually plan it out.
Yeah, I think it would involve actually doing like 2 episodes in December, which we don't always do, and things like that. But yes, before this mailbag segment, I thought maybe if any of our listeners wanted to send us an email or a message or something, it would be nice to have like either a video clip or an audio clip, and if you guys could tell us about, since we're doing the archive cow, maybe the biggest UFO you've ever had and whether or not you finished it. Because I'm sure, especially for people who have been knitting and crocheting for a long time, there are some suckers in there that... or your great white whale or something.
Let's open it up to, it doesn't have to be knitting and crochet. It can be a UFO of a different type of hobby. We can stick that in, because I have some really long ones, really old ones. So
we can either commiserate with you if it was never completed, or celebrate with you if you had actually completed it. I'll include our email. I think it's just kcacypodcast@gmail.com in like the show notes and stuff if you want to send an audio or a video file to us, and I can include it potentially in the next show in the mailbag segment. Fingers crossed. Let's see. Who knows?
That would be very interesting. Yeah, because I'm always fascinated with why people start knitting or crochet.
In general?
Yeah, like why they started it, and why one over the other, and the reasoning behind. Like you wanted to crochet because you didn't want to look at all the knitting patterns, basically.
No, that's just why I've stuck to crochet. Just.
So yeah, it's always fascinating to hear people's stories, why they do what they do with their crafts.
Yeah.
Okay.
My short yarny bits and bobs is that the Kickstarter is over double funded, and
Yay!
I think by the time this episode goes out, the Kickstarter might be over by then. But it's successful, so I'm really excitedly working on the behind the scenes of actually getting the magazine out there for this fall. But I actually got an email from a man who's from Shetland, and he doesn't crochet or anything. He just happened to be on Kickstarter, and Moorit popped just because it's a Scottish word, and so he looked at it and he emailed me to say that's so exciting, and I was really thrilled to see a Scottish word there, and he mentioned that my pronunciation of Moorit was not very Scottish. It's basically because what I tend, and probably other Americans and other non-Scots maybe want to say Moorit. He was saying it's more like if you put the kind of syllable after the O's, so Moorit instead of Moorit. There's also a thing with, Scottish people tend to roll their R's a little bit, so there's that as well, which I'm not going to do that because it just feels weird and like I'm pretending to be something I'm not. So I'm trying to retrain my brain to say Moorit instead of Moorit.
Yeah. So. I actually...
But, either way, it's understandable.
I actually listened to the interview that you did with Faye, and she does pronounce it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you want to hear an actual Scottish person say Moorit, then you can listen to the interview that I did with Faye on the Crochet Circle podcast.
Yep. Yeah. And you did another interview, too.
I did an interview on the By Stitch Show podcast with John and Kelsey, so you can also check that out. And I've also done a blog interview with Felix at Knitsonic, which I really enjoyed that one because she came at it from a very wool Scotland kind of point of view. So I got to share the tidbits that I'd learned about the Scottish connection to crochet, the unexpected connection. And yeah, get a little bit nerdy with statistics on Ravelry and things. So yeah, you can give that a read as well.
I still have to look at that. I haven't. I was thinking about wait, Allison told me about something on a blog and I couldn't remember what it was. So I'm glad you mentioned it.
Knitsonic, yeah. But basically, what I have posted about the Scotland connection to crochet on the Instagram before, when I first started Instagram, but it's because no one really knows the origins of crochet, even though it's not as old as knitting. But one of the earliest written mentions of it is from a diary that was written by a Scotswoman, and she writes about shepherd's knitting, which is done with a hook. So that would have been crochet, and it probably was slip stitch crochet. Because slip stitch, it's the simplest stitch, so it was probably the first stitch that would have been done that was crochet.
Well, it's in Chinese, the difference between knitting and crochet is just hitting or hooking. There's no word for crochet. It's just hooking.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Sam on my walk, because I think I saw on somebody's story highlights on Instagram the fact that there isn't a word in English that means both knitting and crocheting. If you want to include all knitters and crocheters in one word, or in one sentence, you have to say knitters and crocheters or knitting and crochet. But then I think in Spanish it's the same word, maybe, or there's certainly just some languages where there isn't a different word, or there is a word that would imply both either knitting or crochet. And I feel like some of our crocheters' heartache would be solved by if there was just one word, because there's so many events where like knit or knitting is in the event name, but even though the event does welcome crocheters as well, it's just that there's no you can't
I suppose you
name
can
it something.
say yarn crafts, but that would also include needle pointers and stuff.
Weavers, and which isn't to say like they shouldn't be included either, but I think there is, knitting and crochet feels more related than weaving does to those, even though they both use yarn. But that's my random thoughts on that. Like, went on a tangent.
That's okay. This is just what we do. I think one of our first few episodes, we did name the episode Babblecast, so it's kind of what we do. Yeah. Alrighty. So I have no yarny bits and bob. I don't really have a shop talk other than the shop is on vacation as of yesterday, and but I only have three bags in the shop right now. Oh. So I will have to, once we get settled,
get the production line back on.
Yes, in Tennessee, I will be sewing and putting more bags into this shop. So that's that, and I don't think we have anything else, huh?
Okay, I can do my spiel.
Spiel away.
So you can find the show notes for this episode and every episode on our website, which is kcacypodcast.wordpress.com. You can follow us on Instagram. Our handle there is also kcacypodcast. My personal Instagram is Allison here, and my mom's is upstate_Viv. You can subscribe and like and comment and review. We love reviews on iTunes, YouTube, or wherever else you listen to podcasts. You can join the Ravelry group, which is Keep Calm and Carry On Podcast. We've got the Archive KCAL thread in there as well, and you can use #ArchiveKCAL2021 on Instagram. If you'd like to support the show, you can buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/KCACY podcast as well. So thank you for listening.
And remember to keep calm and carry yarn. Bye.
Bye.